Good morning and welcome to our live Q&A episode of the Reiki Lifestyle Podcast. I'm here, of course, with Colleen, as always.
Hello.
And we're also here with Danny.
Hi, everybody. Good to see you.
And this episode is just dedicated to ask questions about Reiki. Sometimes it goes into other parts of spirituality and practices, and just have conversations with everyone that's here, as well as some questions that are emailed in and direct messaged. So just a few announcements. We'll keep it short today because you can always find our list of classes and events at reikilifestyle.com. If you go down to class calendar, you can find the full year of classes, as well as in the events tab, you can find the full year of things that we're doing as well as classes. So for example, us being at the International Reiki Retreat in Sedona in the fall. So things like that are also on there. So the announcements that we still have some space in our human Reiki classes this month. Those are online. So you can join from anywhere in the world. And, something that I should mention about that, I don't think we've talked about recently, is that if you take those classes with Colleen, that qualifies you to be a professional member with the Reiki Membership Association with with Reiki.org, so the ICRT. And with that, you actually get quite a bit of benefits. So you can go to reiki.org to find out more about that. But because she is a licensed teacher, you do qualify by taking those classes to become a professional member. And things like certificates, things like brochures, there's a lot of things that it includes that can be really helpful if you are a Reiki practitioner and a Reiki teacher. She is teaching in person at the Omega Institute in Rhinebeck, New York, ICRT Animal Reiki 1 and 2 in May. And then she's teaching with William Rand again on Mount Karama in October. You have to register for those for the Omega Institute at Omega Institute's website, the class in Japan at reiki.org. Those we also have on our website, so you can go to our destination classes to find that. And then the other really exciting thing is registration will be out. If it's not already out by the time this recording releases, it will be out within the next couple of days. Colleen and Sue and I are teaching in-person animal Reiki classes here at the end of July in Oregon. And it's a little bit more of just kind of a regular in-person Reiki class, because we are actually doing it in the forest, in the beautiful Mount Hood forest in Oregon. So if you are local or you've always wanted to, be in the middle of the Pacific Northwest, we live in all of those TikToks that you see or Instagrams that you see of that beautiful forested, rivery, moody place. It's not super moody in July, but we will be teaching that class in the middle of that. So go to our destination classes to learn more about that. We'll be giving Reiki to the forest. We'll be giving Reiki to the river that's right there. It's absolutely incredible and beautiful. It's in Welch's, Oregon, which is at the base of Mount Hood. And so, yeah, go to learn more about that. Or, of course, email us or DM us if you have any more questions. All right. I said that the announcements wouldn't be long. I guess I lied. Sorry about that. But I'm really excited about the ICRT or the animal Reiki courses. We're super excited about them. So those went a little longer than planned. It's very, very magical up there. It's close to our houses. So Sue actually walks her dogs there like all the time because she lives in the forest in a cabin up in Welch's. We're technically rhododendron. And I live like 15 minutes away. Colleen lives 15 minutes past that. And so I take Luna up there all the time. It's so beautiful. We'll be putting together some video and stuff about it so that you can see it. But it is like old growth cedars and trees, and the river is like kind of this opaly color, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful place. And very near and dear to our heart and magical. And we'll be doing it in a shelter up there actually. So it's like a covered shelter. There's picnic tables. It's really nice. The paths are paved and easy to walk on. And so we're just, you can tell that I'm excited because that's kind of like a part of our hearts and where we enjoy being in the Reiki energy. And so to be doing a class there is, we're excited to be in person again, but also we're really excited to be in person there because it really is such a special place to all of us. So anyway, all right, we'll go into the
And you can swim in the river.
You can swim in the river, yeah. And we'll talk.
Cold.
It's cold, but in July it's okay. We'll talk more
It's
about
mountain snow.
that. Yeah. So, okay. So I'll let Colleen go into the invocation because otherwise I'd keep
Keep
what did the person say? The yammering on about it.
Yes.
Yeah, something like that.
It wasn't yammering, blathering.
Blathering on about it because we love it so much. All right.
The new term, Reiki blathering.
Yeah.
We all do it.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go ahead and go into the invocation. It's interesting. I was listening, they're always channeled. So I was listening for what this would be about. And we've had such big astrological changes that have recently occurred this year occurring. And so I think we'll go into not so much about the specifics of the astrology of it. But one of the things that has really shown up for me a lot and in my sessions is the benefit of how Reiki aligns us like through this light column in that unification, like bringing the energy of the earth up through your body and the energy of in this case, I think it'll go through the solar system too, through the moon and the solar system, so that we are in our place in the rhythm, like really moving into the rhythms. One of the things that has shown me, or I have seen with spirit, or has told me, I should say, is that we can often feel out of alignment. We can experience ourselves as out of alignment. We can experience ourselves as separate from ourselves, like our divine spirit and human spirit are separate. And what I have actually been told, almost like a verbally, is by spirit, is that we can't actually be out of alignment or separated from ourselves, separated from our spirit, separate from the earth, all the ways we can experience that. However, because of our experiences, we can believe ourselves to be out of alignment. We can believe ourselves to be separate from ourselves, and that creates that experience. So one of the things we've been talking about in the distance Reiki shares this month in April is how Reiki is such a beautiful practice for this moment. And so as it flows through us and as we contemplate these ideas and do our own work and our own journeys around it, for me, what I have come to understand in everything that I just talked about with that alignment and the separation is simply receiving Reiki creates that alignment and experience of it. It heals the areas where we feel out of alignment, where we experience ourselves that way, where it is, like it not only feels, but it's valid that it is an experience of like, I'm out of alignment, the ground underneath me is wobbly, the world around me is wobbly, and I feel like I'm, either disconnected or even misaligned. And the same is true with being separate. And so Reiki heals those areas that and it does that for us. So as it releases the reasons, the injuries, or those misalignments, it actually heals what is released and then fills us back up. So now we experience ourselves as connected, as aligned, our body, our chakras, our systems aligned. So in that conversation, and I didn't know I was going to talk about all this, it's just coming through. One of the things that has recently shown up in that alignment and with the ability to navigate through all of these planetary transits going on, the big events that are global in the collective and then also individually, is that alignment going up and very specifically being aware of connecting through the moon and connecting into that moon energy. And you can just intend it. You may not understand it. You may not imagine it. You don't have to visualize it. It's just allowing the awareness that as you connect with that energy of the moon, and from that place, going into this solar system and the rhythm of this solar system, the rhythm of the planetary changes that are coming. Reiki also naturally connects you to the higher consciousness experience of that connection. So as we have planetary changes, as we have, the one we, just moved, Neptune just moved into Aries after being in Pisces for years. And so the energetic changes that makes is really beneficial when you align with the higher frequencies of the energy of those transits, the energy of the planets, and how that affects you individually, also how it affects us collectively. And so, in the thought of how Reiki is a beautiful practice for this moment, because we receive it and it naturally aligns us to those higher frequencies, because the energy of Reiki is only higher frequency. It doesn't have the duality of, the earth consciousness of, love and hate. It only has love. And so when we are aligning using Reiki energy, it takes us to those higher frequencies, and it simply does it through invitation. It doesn't have the requirements that we have to earn it or deserve it or work hard for it to do that with us. We just simply invite it, and even sometimes just intend it. Like, okay, Reiki on. I align. I have, because sometimes when, like, to me, when we feel like our spirituality, we have to earn it and deserve it and do all the right things. It's like, oh, one more thing to do in the middle of everything there is to do, one more thing to navigate. Now, I love being in alignment with Reiki and spending time with it and doing the journeys. And then there's times when I just needed to activate, like, just align me, I'm on. So anyway, like I say, I didn't know I was going to talk about all that, but I think that's what is coming through in this invocation, to bring in that alignment for you, to heal the areas where you are experiencing yourself as out of alignment or the ground underneath you as wobbly, and help you move into that stability and connection with yourself, with the rhythms that are occurring right now, and in the higher frequencies of those rhythms. Okay, so officially, I better stop because I can tell. It's one of those where I could keep talking too. All right, so let's go ahead and get comfortable for any of you that are listening to this. And you are not in the place to go deep. That Reiki, you know, how we can go really deep with Reiki, probably fast forward into the Q&A and listen to this later. If you can just let it wash over you while you're busy, you can do that. And then those of you that are able, go ahead and let this be about you and for you. Like, take this time to just allow yourself to receive it. Okay, so Taylor, I would love to talk about that afterwards too. All right. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and turn my video off and we'll go into the invocation. Close your eyes and take some deep breaths. Place your hands comfortably on your body. Open your heart and receive. As Reiki flows in on your breath to align you with the earth, with this solar system and galaxy, the Milky Way, the rhythms of the universe, and the heartbeat of creation, all beating in the same rhythm as your own heart. Breathe deeply now and receive the light and the power of love by every name it's called. And the power of love flows in under breath and awakens the power of love within you and reveals it to you. This is the truth of who you are. As you breathe in the light and the power of the divine mind. And your divine mind wakes up and is revealed to you. So you can hear you and know you and discover you, your inner truth, your inner authority, your inner awareness awake, your higher consciousness present, authentic intuition and imagination and insight, instincts, all awake within you, and the field of possibilities is open. And as you breathe in the light and the power of the divine heart, and your divine heart is revealed. Your heart light shines in front of you and behind you and on each side, above you, below you, and within you. Your divine heart expands your perceptions to the divine heart here in your world. The beautiful light of Reiki filling the space around you and the air that you breathe. The heart and the beauty of this earth revealed to you in your perceptions. As the light and the heartbeat of the earth rises through your earth star, your root chakra, flowing up through your chakras in your central channel, through your crown, your soul star, and through the light of the moon and the solar system, the sun, and the rhythm of this galaxy, the Milky Way, connected, present, listening to you here in the alignment of this moment in time in your life and in the history of your soul. The light from the earth rising through your central channel and soul star and through the solar system receives from the heavens and from the infinite realms of pure love, consciousness, pure heart, as the light of wisdom and the heartbeat of creation flows through you and flows through your soul star, your crown and your heart and each of your chakras, flowing with the earth and the rhythm and the heartbeat of creation and the rhythm and the heartbeat of the earth, beating in the same rhythm as your own heart. And you remember now that your body is made of the earth, a treasure house for your great beaming light, and that your beautiful spirit is right here within you. Your divine spirit, your human spirit are both divine, all divine. And the light of the earth rises through your earth star, your root chakra, and flows upward through your left channel, your left hip, left shoulder, left side of your brain and your crown, and through your soul star. And the light of the earth and the rhythm of the earth aligns you as it rises through your earth star and your root chakra and your right channel, flowing through your right hip, your right shoulder, the right side of your brain, through your crown, your soul star, and into the moon and the sun and the solar system, the universe, the heavens, and creation itself. Awake to your own divine presence right now in the totality of your wholeness. Your spirit ignites and is revealed to you. Your divine spirit and human spirit, one spirit, one light. Your divine nature and human nature, your soul is here to experience. Your human nature at this time in your soul's journey. Divine compassion fills your breath and flows through your body, your cellular body. Compassion and love, truth and beauty awakening, connected with the earth, connected with the heaven, your authentic intellect and personal power, your inner peace and clarity of mind, all here and present. And as you breathe in, the light of the tree of life flows in on your breath, and your roots grow deeply into the earth. Your branches reach to the heavens. And you receive from the earth, you receive from the heavens, unified right here in your heart, aligned, strong, balanced. And your communications awaken, your ability to receive higher thought, higher consciousness, divine guidance, awake and present and aligned here at this moment within you. And your perceptions expand to the beautiful beings of the light that are here and all around you. And you become aware of the divine animal kingdom and your place in the circle of life with them. The spirit of the earth is here and awake all around you. As you become aware of the divine creation of this earth, Breathe deeply now. Open your heart and receive. As your perceptions expand to the angels and the archangels all around you, and you are here in the circle of light with the ascended masters, brothers and sisters in the light, your enlightened ones of your heart, your spiritual team, your beloved and sacred ones are all here with you in a beautiful gathering. And as you expand your perception and your awareness of their presence, go within and you become aware of your light and realize it's as beautiful as theirs. Sometimes when it seems as if it's hidden from your own view, these beautiful beings of the light and the light of Reiki will come in and release from you those ways and worries of the world that can sometimes hide it all from you. The injuries of life, of this life, of other lifetimes. And so you breathe deeply now and open your heart and receive and allow this to be done for you. In the places where you feel and experience your life and the reality feels and experienced as if it is misaligned, out of order, wobbled underneath you and around you, feeling unstable, experiencing instability. And the light of Reiki comes in from the highest level of love and support for you and fills your body with light, with love, with compassion, and releases from you any cords or connectors or attachments for any reason. They're there to anything that hides the purity of your love and light and sovereignty from you. From the places where you are experiencing yourself as out of alignment, the light comes in and releases it from you for you. And through the power of love and through the frequency of grace, all that you let go of is carried into the light where it can be healed, releasing you of the burdens you have been carrying, the layers that hide you from you. And so you simply say yes to releasing it all. Sometimes you'll want to know details, other times you can just let it all go. And this is one of those times you can just let it go. So much doesn't even belong to you and the burdens that you're carrying. So breathe deeply and receive. As the power of love flows in on your breath and refills and rejuvenates the power of love in your experience of you. The power of love with the earth, the alignment with the heartbeat of the earth. Your roots growing deeply around you, stable, strong, and the ground underneath you, stable, strong. And you communicate with the earth, and the earth communicates with you in beautiful communion and self-awareness that you belong here. Your soul is right here within you. Your spirit is beautiful and your light is strong. And you receive the power of love, and you receive the light of your own divine mind waking up, the wisdom of the heavens and the wisdom of the ancients flowing through you, awakening your wisdom, your knowledge, your inner truth, your inner authority, and your self-awareness as aligned as the light of the heavens, the light of the energies of this Milky Way, the sun and the moon, all aligned with you. bringing you into this moment in time, here with the earth and the rhythms and the cycles of where you are right now, the ground underneath you, the waters of the earth, the bedrock, the fires of the earth, the air that you breathe, stable, strong, aligned. Receive the light of the divine heart, waking up your divine heart in that moment when your spirit became self-aware. It's right here, your God spark, present and available to you. And as you bring your alignment together, you realize that your higher thought is present. You have access to you. You can hear you now in your decision making, your clarity of mind, the choices that you are in each day. Your priorities are clear. Your alignment is present. And Reiki is bringing in greater levels of being functional in your daily life, simple, practical, efficient, all the while aware of your beautiful spirit and the beauty of spirit all around you. Take this time right now to look inside and to say thank you to you. You are listening to this because you are here to listen to you, to go into the depths of you and to the surface parts of you, your personality too, your daily expression. We say thank you to each other. Circles always divinely ordered, all who are here live and those who listen later, as we come together in a beautiful community, caring deeply about love and wellness in our own lives and those of our loved ones and the people, the animals, the earth itself. We say thank you to all these Reiki energies and enlightened ones that are here with us and for us in the heavens of consciousness available. We say thank you to the teachers who came before us, the descendants who come after, as we are here in the lineage of light bringers. We open our hearts and we receive the blessing and all those frequencies of blessings of this time. Higher consciousness, higher thought, awake and present in the field of possibilities. Awake to your own intuition, insight, imagination, innovation, creativity. Thank you. And so it is. And manifestation. And now you can take as long as you like. When you're ready, you can come back into the room and open your eyes. And since we are on a podcast, I'll go ahead and start my video. Come back in. So I just want to read what Taylor wrote in the chat. And Neptune in Aries feels like it will be very helpful and supportive for dissolving that illusion perception of separation over the next 14 years. Grateful for Reiki helping us naturally align to the truth of our wholeness and interconnectedness. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Are we ready to get started on some questions?
I think so.
Okay. So the first question is, um, okay, I was giving Reiki to people, and the two people mentioned that they had lower back issues. Usually I just see the person, and as I said, Reiki, but today I actually saw their entire spine. My eyes were closed as a visual of a spine appeared. Curious if seeing the actual body part instead of the whole person is the Reiki energy more directed. I have never seen actual body parts while sending Reiki. Maybe the people were showing me where to send Reiki. And yeah, the short answer is yes. That's very normal. You can direct Reiki energy to certain parts, and the Hayashi healing guide is coming through. Like, yeah, there's that. So, I think if you think about it with this question, with this question of like, if somebody's having a stomach ache, or if you have, an ankle sprain, or any place where the where there's issues happening, then you can absolutely direct Reiki energy to that place, instead of just the whole body. And if you're in person, your hands may even move to that place. So there's that aspect of it. So this is very normal, very common that you can direct Reiki to a specific spot, especially when there's physical pain happening. Now, sometimes you might even be directed to a different spot than where the pain is happening, and you might know the reason why that's coming up. Maybe there's something, it's like, you know, just as an example, let's say they have, if we're going with that sprained ankle example, let's say their left ankle is sprained and you're directed to the right ankle, and there might be different reasons, but maybe the reason that ankle needs Reiki is because it's compensating for the other one. So there's more pain in that one, or there is additional pain in that one. So sometimes it also directs you to places that are different than maybe what you would think, but it is very normal to work with a very specific spot on the body, organs, those kinds of things when you're doing physical Reiki.
So I think I would just add to that, that one of the things that you find with Reiki as a practitioner is it teaches you. And so, um, it's also showing you in this case, like, oh, hey, go work over on this spot. And when like when I originally used Reiki, we were supposed to only use the foundation treatment hand placements. And then when we learned that Usui actually practiced a very intuitive style of Reiki, we realized that, intuition can guide you to another place too. So, sometimes those things will happen consistently for a while, where you'll see something repeatedly with multiple clients, and it's showing you lots of different ways that Reiki can help you identify, hand placements or where things are going on for people. And then sometimes it's a one-off, and it's one or two times that you experience it that way. One of the things that started happening for me was, in that same example of, I started to get to where, and I can't ever remember which Claire is which sometimes, but where I actually physically can feel the energy in my own body for where it's showing up on their body. it always releases Reiki. It's like I've instructed Reiki when that happens to just, okay, I see it now. Or when I say see, I mean feel it or know it. It doesn't always mean visually see it. And so, then I know, okay, let it go. But now it's helped me, it's part of my intuitive awareness of that. So, yeah, that's really fun, and it can show up in so many different ways to teach you how it works. And one of the things we know now is to follow that intuition and allow yourself to let it teach you different ways in the way that you might it might show up, or you may observe how it's working.
Okay, and another question from somebody that is here. Um, as a Reiki master, what is the best way to give yourself tune-up ignitions with the meditation? So I think, like the experience or the ignition style of attunement is the question, or the placement style of attunement, which is the style that we do in Holy Fire as well as Animal Reiki. And so with this, there's several ways that you can do it. You can do it yourself if you know the script well enough, where you're taking that journey, for lack of a better word. I don't mean it like in the way of like a journeying technique, but where you can go through the ways of um, the way that the script does it. You can ask another practitioner to that's attuned to the same level, or I should say the master level. So you can ask another, Reiki master to take you through an attunement. If the teacher or class that you had a class from gives you the recordings of that, you can also go through the recording as well, and do tune-ups that way also. So there's a variety of ways that you can experience the attunement again. I've definitely taken other Reiki practitioners through a placement. So if they're 1 and 2 attuned, I've taken them through the placements again, just in a session, and that's like what they were wanting for their session. And then for the Reiki masters or Karuna Reiki masters, I have taken them through the ignitions as well. So just, I definitely have done that multiple times. So that's one way to do it. And then if you have the recording of them, then you can do that. Maybe even record yourself through it if you don't have a recording from a teacher. So you could record yourself potentially, and then take yourself through it as well. So I know sometimes that's hard because we don't always love the sound of our own voice. Definitely experience that. But that's another way that you could do it as well. All right. Was that Colleen? Do you have anything to add for that?
Nope, I think that's great.
Okay. All right. So then the next question, Diana, go ahead.
So I have a client who's very sensitive. She's just so gifted. She sees orbs. She sees full figure apparitions. Sometimes when this happens, like it comes over her and it makes her feel sick to her stomach. It makes her feel dizzy. She's really disoriented. I've given her lots of tools as far as, putting yourself in a bubble of protected light, and letting things bounce off of that bubble, and also being really stern with the entities and telling them, no, not now, or I just need to help her in some fashion to mute or turn down her gifts. And I do absolutely believe that attuning her to Reiki would help that. And we've talked about that. but what can I do for her on the table and in session? And what more can I give her?
Well, I would put that into skill training.
Yes, yes.
You know, I don't know that we can impart on them the skills somebody actually needs.
Right.
We can teach and guide through the skills. But you know, what I see with people sometimes is they have those aptitudes, gifts, abilities, and they need the skill to manage it, to learn what to do, how to be appropriate with it. It, you know, like you say, the tools that you've already given this person. Um, and then also people like myself, I would say I had an aptitude and I had to have the training to even get to the point where I could reveal those gifts. So I really, you know, some sort of training, since Reiki is what you do, then, you know, having this person really go into training is just really truly like the best advice I can give. I don't know that we can completely help somebody without their own skill development, because it is all a skill. It's
Mhm.
like you really look at the people who have been doing it, even though Reiki is given to us and it does it for us, there's still skill development in psychic, telepathic, authentic intellect, perceptions, you know, all of those things, gifts, abilities.
What
So
direction can I send her for that?
I would have her take Reiki training from you.
Okay, okay. So I was on the right course with
Absolutely.
yes, getting attunements. Okay.
Hmm.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, starting there, and then, you know, it may be one of those where you would help her become aware of like the benefit of long-term mentorship with you,
Okay.
whether that's through regular sessions, but some type of an awareness that skill building to me is what you need.
Okay. Beautiful. Thank you so much for your input. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have a
Um,
comment, attunement to Reiki helped me. The lower frequency entities aren't able to come into the higher energy space of Reiki, and they aren't bothering me anymore. Yeah. So thank you for sharing that, because I really, yeah, it either helps, you know, it can help it emerge. Like in my case, it was, you know, pretty underneath things. And then also for the people that it's just coming in so big. I remember with the movie, oh, what's the one with the little kid? Um,
Sixth Sense.
Sixth Sense. I used to think, why don't they teach him what to do? You know, it's like you just need the skills. Yeah. So
All right. Well, Laura, go ahead.
Hello.
Hi.
I am teaching a Reiki course and doing attunements, and I have a student who has had two attunements so far, and both of them have been rather unpleasant experiences. So the first one was described as a David Lynch movie and extreme sadness afterwards. And then a couple months later, the second one, um, it really showed a lot of duality, but specifically um, kind of the Crusades and then this bright light around it. and also a sensation of being strangled. And that is not something that I have had any experience with in Reiki, nor have I heard in the many classes that I've been in with all of you. So I was wondering if you have any wise words about that and what I can say to him.
Got some past life stuff going on there.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Yeah. Actually, it's not super uncommon for attunements to be, maybe let me rephrase that. It's normal enough for attunements to be uncomfortable. So it certainly happens. I mean, many people have very profound attunement experiences, but the crusades and the strangulation uh, experience, I mean, yeah, yeah, past lives and ancestral history experiences with that can be uncomfortable. And so also just letting um him know that it's definitely common enough to have uncomfortable attunement experiences. What it is doing is it's releasing the layers and the things that need to be healed, and that energy is coming in, releasing that, and so that your frequencies are kind of also upgraded at the same time. And it's getting rid of what needs to be released to make space for the new. And I know it's always one of those things that we want to have those profound experiences, blissful experiences, and it can be disappointing to have those experiences that are really uncomfortable, but it is definitely normal enough for those to happen. So the biggest thing is to try not to evaluate it as much as possible as the student is concerned. Um, it can be hard to do that. Also, you can have more attunements or sessions to just fill back up as well. But you hear of people that have uncomfortable physical symptoms, and that term healing crisis, where it can be nausea or headache, where they can have it for a day, and some people even up to a week, from what I have heard after an attunement and even after a session. So it's definitely not always comfortable. I think sometimes normalizing that piece of it can be helpful, because I think, people even have a hard time sharing that something was uncomfortable. So that's nice that, they shared that with you so that you can know, like, oh, it's okay. It happens. Other people experience this, because I think sometimes it's like, wait, what's wrong with me? Did it work? Did this happen? But it certainly happens. And that second one really does sound like a lot of either past life or ancestral history happening. Was this in person, Laura?
No, it's online.
Online.
And
Is the person near you geographically ish?
ish, same country, but quite far away.
Yeah, okay. That would
Yeah,
definitely make sense for you too, because that, I mean, that all came out of Europe, right? So
yeah.
the Crusades, even though not your country specifically. But
We had our own
huh?
we had our own pillaging.
Yes, exactly.
Different kinds.
So, yeah, so the past lives, the ancestral history can be really strong, depending on your lineage, depending on where you might, be from. Um, and so that piece of it sounds very, very past life ancestral history related, and it's releasing those. And it could very well be too with Reiki energy. I mean, we have so many experiences in Reiki and spiritual healing. So, energy healing modalities where you have those experiences because there has been so much persecution of, um, these spiritual paths where, uh, herbalists, where the healers were persecuted for these ways. And there can be latent fear that we don't know we have around it when it comes to Reiki, when it comes to energy healing modalities, when it even comes to things like herbalism, because we've been persecuted for eons over it. And so there can be so much release around that and experiences of release around that, that the Reiki is probably coming in. I mean, I don't want to assume, that's maybe the wrong way to say that, but um, really helping this person to release that memory of that so that the Reiki energy can come in and really, bring them into this time frame with it where they can experience it to its full degree.
Mm.
And I'm sure Colleen has things to add around that.
Yeah, I think you said it really well. I just would share that I yeah, some of my attunements have been very uncomfortable and had powerful healing experiences that in the moment might have felt like crisis. I've actually had people who, you know, it seems coincidental that they get some type of an illness immediately following attunement. So, like, you know, get the flu, or I've even had it where they went out to dinner and ate something that gave them food poisoning. So it seems unrelated, but there's a purging that happens with it. One of the things that happened for me in my very first attunement, and I had already been doing a lot of spiritual work through my shamanic training and experiences. And when I received Reiki, I actually had a physical current running through my forearms and out my fingers. And it was really uncomfortable. Like it was a tangible current and energy running through. And I had a lot of fear around it and a lot of concern. And as I was trying to explain it to several of my teachers about it, I don't think they could, like, for them it seemed normal enough. So me explaining, like, wait, no, seriously, I have these currents running through my arms. And I felt like at the time, I would go sit under our big tree and put my hands on the ground and on her roots and try to discharge the energy because it was so physically uncomfortable. So all kinds of things can really happen for people. I think for me, some of the physical discomfort, in addition to healing whatever blocks I had in that space within me physically, but also I had such a huge level of skepticism about Reiki, and that somebody could just give it to me through an attunement, that I think it was also a little bit like, well, watch this. you know? And the energy, because what the result of it was, okay, if this is true, if this is real, this actually physically happened, and that current lasted like a month, so a long time. And I remember thinking, if this is true, what else is true? What else is real out there? Like somebody can truly just pass on an attunement through the simplicity of the attunement process. And now you have this ability. It changed my entire belief system. So it depends on what's going on for the person and how they experience it. I definitely am aware of my personal genealogy and ancestry with the Crusades, and it actually did a tremendous level of healing around that, on so many different levels, um, and over the course of years, where different things would show up. Like, okay, here's a block because of this, here's a block because of that. And it's ultimately led to freedom, ultimately led me to, this is the lifetime I get to be free of the cords and connectors to that, through either my own past lives with it or ancestral history with it. And like Robin said, free of that fear of persecution. both that I perpetrated or was perpetrated upon me. And so it's actually, I think, like to share with them that it's really beneficial, even though it's uncomfortable.
That fear can be very cellular, so you don't even know that you have it, and um, that there's that. Also, people can experience really big healings from traumas in this lifetime, and even had people needing to excuse themselves into, like the bathroom or something in order to have that emotional release that is coming through so strongly that they're, I mean, it's just like even a sobbing, as we all know, we can have that after sessions or after classes or things like that. And so there's that aspect that can happen as well. So it can be very, very normal for these things to happen.
Wow. Thank you so much, both of you, for sharing your experiences. I will definitely pass it on. And the thread of ancestral healing and skepticism uh, definitely seem to fit. So I think that will be very helpful. Thank you.
So Laura, I don't know what this has to do with it, but it's like it's so loud, I have to say it. The belief in, oh, excuse me, the belief in no pain, no gain.
Thank you.
Like releasing whatever that is. Even as I say it, I'm like, yeah.
Well, and look at there's pain in a way,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's, I don't know. It just,
Yeah. I
that is
think
so loud.
that
It was so loud. I had to finally, as much as I was like, no, I'm not going to keep going. It's like, say it.
I thank you. I think that that fits in this situation.
Yeah. And like that phrasing, because one of the things I've often said about me that why I didn't believe in Reiki, that it could be passed on through an attunement, is I had such a strong work ethic. Like I have to work hard to get anything that I want or to accomplish anything has to be hard work. And that was something that Reiki was healing in me. But this one came through so specifically with that phrase of no pain, no gain.
No pain, no gain.
So,
I used to have a t-shirt that said that when I was a kid.
okay, yeah, right. And Reiki's like, actually, you really can't, it can be done without pain. you know? But
Yeah,
there's the
and
healing of that belief system.
yeah, and that is a hard thing to accept, to just receive. That's enough. Hmm.
It's so true. Oh, so true. And we do, everybody can't see it on the film, but or I mean on the video, but um, Laura has notoriously had cards that she's pulled before she's joined us in any of our community events or classes. And in this one, the cards were the sound of the universe, manifestation, and surrender. I love how that works for you, for all of us.
Yes,
Yes,
they
the
always
sound
hit.
of the universe.
Mm. Yes, they are by Izzy Ivy. For anyone who's interested, I always like to share.
Beyond Lemuria. I love
Yes,
it.
they are Reiki infused. Thank you.
Thanks, Laura.
Thanks, Laura.
It's always such a good topic because it actually doesn't come up a whole lot unless you're in class and you have you have a student experiencing that. But I think it's such an important topic because it's it happens, and it's not always one that people are like, I didn't have a good experience. They don't want to necessarily share about it. So yeah, thank you. Right. So Helene.
I'm going to add one experience to that that's popping in again also. Um, my husband's done all of the shamanic work and Reiki over the years and training and everything. And when I first gave him his holy fire placement, attunement, he literally sat straight up and was like, "What was that?" And so his it actually almost brought up like this level of like, ugh, it wasn't sick and it wasn't anger, but it was intense, and intense for him too. And it settled after some time, but I would say, like a pretty big reaction that was uncomfortable even for me as the teacher practitioner in that moment. Yeah. Because that's the next piece of it. As the practitioner, as the teacher, reassuring people that this is to their benefit. They're like, doesn't feel like that, but it is to their benefit. So you just stay calm, stay professional, stay confident for them, and also trust, because that's the other thing, is really trusting in the Reiki energy to be doing for them what they need.
All right. Helene, go ahead.
Hi.
Yeah.
During one of the Reiki journeys, I all of a sudden had this beautiful white stallion coming up next to me, nuzzling in, just so comfortable and so, oh my God, it was incredible. And afterwards I thought, okay, I have to look that up. And I looked in my totem book, and it said that it was probably Quan Yin. And then, of course, I couldn't find enough about Quan Yin, so I thought I would come here to ask because I know nothing about her except that, Colleen, you've mentioned her before. Um, but it was very apparent to me that yes, that was Quan Yin, because it just, as soon as I read it, I went, oh yeah, that's right. So anyway, tell me all about her.
Well, let me grab this. This is yellow jade that I'm holding up, is a little statue of her that I was gifted from Laurel Gaia in my Karuna Reiki co-teach class. She came to me years ago, gosh, right after I learned Karuna Reiki, and started a relationship with me about my belief system at the time. One of them was hard work, ironically, about what we're talking about, that Reiki had to be hard work. At the time, I was an incredible overgiver. And I had this like responsibility to save the world and save everybody. So, but I was terrible at receiving. And if somebody asked me if I needed help, I'd be like, oh no, I've got it. Thank you. I'm good. And she came to me in a journey, and I did not know her that well at the time, but she said, if you are only giving and not receiving, you have blocked half of creation energy, because both giving and receiving, she used the words at that time of the divine masculine creates through giving, the divine feminine creates through receiving. And if you are only working with the energy of giving and no longer receiving, then you're blocking that divine feminine energy. She was also clear that this was not gender-based. This is in that really big archetypal level of creation. So also on that note, she presents herself as both male and female and genderless. So people experience her in all different ways and belief systems and experiences of her. She is traditionally the goddess of mercy and compassion in Eastern traditions. So in many Eastern traditions, she is one of the primary divine beings that is worshipped, connected with. When you walk into Mount Karama and the birthplace of Reiki, that Usui was in that temple on the mountain, she is really the first deity that you encounter, the statue of her. She's always been a very big part of Reiki, and one of the things that she has worked with me on, and so she's way bigger and more vast than my experience, but really healing that part of me of learning how to receive and showing the importance, particularly at this time, not only individually, but collectively, that we learn to receive. So she's been teaching me this. I would say my initial contact with her about that would have been in 2003, 2004. So since that time, because I had such a strong block to receiving, she has been teaching me over the years through all different awarenesses about how to receive, and shown me the different levels and the importance of it. I wrote an article called Receive the Answers to Your Prayers, and that was her teaching about that. And it was during the time that Nelson Mandela was in the hospital before the end of his life. And at the time, I was able to perceive people from around the world through all the traditions in which people pray and the ways that they do this were just asking for grace for him, prayers around him. And the earth was literally surrounded by enlightened beings. And what they showed me at the time was that we know how to send our prayers out, but we often don't know how to receive the answers to our prayers. So we may send them out through it. And what she showed me was that it's because we have such a strong belief that we need an intermediary, so another person, to receive those answers for us and then tell us what those answers are. And so the Reiki energy is really trying to teach us how to go inward in these really important areas of the soul and how to hear ourselves and receive our own answers of our own spiritual truth and daily truth. And the other thing that she brought in was part of, particularly in my generation, and even before, was the belief in being self-sacrificing, that the giving and the self-sacrificing went hand in hand. And she was showing how, because she's very much in alignment with Mother Mary, the Divine Mother, Gaia. She's a goddess of that kind of energy, and they all work together, of course. They're not separate the way we perceive them as different. But one of the things that she showed me was how our perception of, say, Mother Mary, and Mother Mary kind of got in on the conversation, was that we see her as self-sacrificing, that is the feminine principle of life, is to be self-sacrificing. And then she showed me images of her and how mostly when you find images of her as a goddess, she's in beautiful robes and abundance and fruit and things around her. So those are my lessons with her, whether they are, other people's experience of her. She has come in as, the teacher and the being of compassion and compassionate action. She's shown up in my sessions for people who need that, really deep level of compassion. Mercy is another part of her that, often we're not really as aware of that energy. But she does it through beauty. She's also was significant in teaching me the gratitude ceremony, like really understanding that gratitude is one of the easiest pathways to wellness. And then in addition to being in gratitude as a pathway to wellness, because sometimes it's hard to be in gratitude, that one of the steps, so she would show me the different steps that I needed or that could make that easier for me to do when I was struggling with it, is to notice beauty. So she would say, let me help you notice beauty. And so just being somewhere or being in my own home or noticing something, just to stop for a moment and be in that place of, oh, that's beauty. And that then could lead me like a step, an energetic step to waking up that gratitude within me, that then of course leads to a greater sense of wellness and happiness. And so she works really well with Reiki because she actually doesn't believe in things have to be hard. So also the other goddesses are saying they didn't say everything that I just talked about. Like, Mother Mary is like, I did not come in to teach self-sacrifice. That has been placed upon me as a being. But she said that's not who she is to her. So, but I can tell you, and the spelling of Quan Yin can be different. So if you look her up online, there has to be lots of information. She is an ancient goddess and Eastern traditions. Sometimes it's Quanyin. It can be Kwan, can be Ku or Quan. So try different spellings of it too. And then use Reiki to ask her who she is to you, because that's my experience of her. And she has really stayed with me to help me understand the importance of receiving, because if I want to be in this place of listening and receiving my answers and my own inner truth, it is a receptive act. And then the action comes with that as well. And back to the idea of, now we have Neptune moving into Aries, which has more action, spiritual action. She is a really great being for that. She's very active on the earth, very much of a active being, cares deeply about the earth and humanity.
Thank you. You answered every question I had.
Good. And she's probably like, Helene, receive. I even got to where I changed my languaging. So I would, instead of saying things like, "Oh, I got your message," this is back to when we still had answer machines. And so I would always say, "Oh, I received the message that you sent," or voicemail. I
Mhm.
changed everything and I actively used the word receiving. I still do. I think about making sure, learning how to say thank you to compliments. Yes, I receive your help. Um, one of the places, I'll just share a quick story with that too. We were at one of the Vision Quest practicums, telepathic communication practicum that we did with my shamanic work, and as an elder and one of the teachers in that, it would be normal for the participants to, like, we would get in line first for the food. People would take our plates, things like that. And it's not like creepy or weird. It's just because we're super busy. And so they're accommodating us, not like, anything weird. But anyway, somebody came up to me and said, "Oh, let me take your plate and I'll wash it for you." And I said, "Oh, no, I've got it. Thank you." And watching her face by me saying no, in that instant, I understood. Oh, she was just offering something to be kind and honoring. And I said, "Oh, no, I've got it," because that's my normal. It's like
Mhm.
a little uncomfortable to have people do things for you because you're in an elder position, and like that's awkward. So I had to work through, like, what is that? That I can't just allow somebody to do something so simple as wash my dish for me. And it's been a process.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I also have trouble with receiving, and I'm the same way. Oh no, I got it, even when I don't really feel like I got it, you know. So I guess I do need to spend some time with her. Thank you.
Well, she showed up for a reason.
Yes, she did, and at the right time.
Yeah, I love it. Oh, thank you for
Yeah.
asking. It's a good question because it's a big time right now. It seems like awkward to think of, oh, what the world needs now is to receive. And yet we think of that, going back to that alignment. That's where that idea of aligning with the moon came in, not the idea, the teaching from Reiki of that alignment with the moon, because it was saying right now there are so many downloads coming to the earth, and the way to receive them is to let them come through that light and energy of the moon and then to us. Like it was like a funnel system of all these, between, there's just so much information coming in and downloads individually, collectively, innovations, ideas, connections, all those things, and receiving those. How do we receive them? And so it came through to really align with that light of the moon, letting that receiving come through that filter of the moon and then come in, and also the filter of the earth. And that's what the importance of the alignment is about, is also so that we can receive everything that's showing up, because it's a big time of listening. Like, we need to be receiving so
Yeah.
we can hear.
So true.
Mhm.
So true. And just when you said, the world needs love, it made me think of that song from, I don't know, 100 years ago. What the world needs now is love. But you can't receive love unless you're willing to receive it,
Yeah,
is what came to me. So, yeah, perfect timing.
yeah.
She is
There's a
definitely needed.
big life changing teaching for me that has I've had to really, I've focused on it. It's a big piece of my own personal experience and personal growth.
Grazie tanto.
Yeah. Laura, did you want to add?
Yeah, I have a relationship with a Tibetan Buddhist version of Quan Yin named White Tara, and she is likened to the vibrant vigor of 1,000 moons. So she is extremely white. And uh, this has been coming through for me all day because I just listened to the podcast with Rivka about Lady Wisdom. And White Tara is her CDs, or the gifts that she grants are wisdom and healing. And and then the moon came in and the invocation and then the channels, which is also really big in Tibetan Buddhism. Um,
Mhm.
and I don't know if that will help you in your journey with Kuan Yin, but that is something else to look into. And I feel like she is Reiki, actually. That is the teaching that I have received from her, that she is the divine feminine in whatever form she takes, and that is divine consciousness, and that is Reiki. So, thank you.
Wow, thank you. I love that,
Thank
Laura.
you.
Yeah. Wow. I love how it all works.
Okay, so the next question, hold on. How to reconnect with your practice after a period of disconnection and really struggling to feel the connection in the same way it was before. And I appreciated this comment as well as, or question as well as yours, Laura, because it's a lot more normal than you would think. And it's one of those things that sometimes can be a little hard to share because you think, oh gosh, what did I do wrong or what's wrong with me? But also another important topic to talk about because it's one of those things that I think the more we talk about it, the more normalized it is, and the more that we don't feel quite as much anxiety around the fact that this can happen for us. Um, and so, to one thing around it that I will say is that we do definitely go in and out of cycles of the connection that we actually feel around Reiki and spirituality. Um, that sometimes we feel very, very connected to it. And those times when everything seems to be flowing, those times when we are feeling it so strongly, where we're having profound experiences that happen maybe even on a daily basis or all day, every day, where we're maybe even able to sit in self Reiki or sit in circles and do Reiki and our spiritual practices a lot. And then there's other times where we might have very busy lives, or maybe there's something big that's happening in our life, whether it's health issues or maybe something with a family member or a friend where they're going through health issues, different things like that. And we can be in a period where we don't necessarily feel very connected to it, and even wonder, like, did it go away? Where is it? I think that is a really big piece of Reiki that is amazing, that even when in the times when we're not feeling it very strongly, it's still there. All we have to do is invite it. Speaking of the conversation that was just being had, is receive it and know, because it doesn't come from us, or, it's an external energy, it's an external thing that we receive, that by just inviting it, we are receiving it. And all we have to do is ask. And to know that it's very normal that even in those situations, even when you are like, okay, I'm going to invite it in and ask it every day, that we may not feel it super strongly, but that it is still working, that it is still there, and that it does change over time, that it will change for you when you will be in a different cycle, and that also, that definiteness of purpose sustained over time always produces results. It can be challenging in the times where we feel like we really need it. I know for me, personally, recently I went through the loss of my father-in-law, and there were times where I felt it profoundly, and then there were times where I would ask for it to come in and it didn't feel like it was flowing very much. But I know that it was there because I could see it in the results of the way that I would maybe react to different situations. And that was a time where I really expected to feel it profoundly and feel profound insights around that process. And I will, be completely honest and transparent that there were a lot of times where I expected that, and that's not what happened at all. But I do also know that it supported me through that time, and it helped me to navigate that time in the way that I was able to support the situation and support everybody involved in the situation, and acting from a place of love. When sometimes there were times where you didn't want to act that way. So just ask for it to come in. But I didn't necessarily feel that. I didn't necessarily feel that kind of altered state of consciousness that we can feel in Reiki energy a lot. And I just had to trust and know that it was there, and know that there was I had a session with Colleen, and there, that there was this aspect of being Reiki. And that really had resonated with me at the time, because I do feel like that was the experience that I was having, even though I didn't feel like it was that kind of altered or higher state of consciousness in the moment. And there was a time before that when I know I've talked about this part a lot, where I was going through a lot of health issues and pretty sick. And in those times when I called upon it, I did feel it and felt really connected, and knew that it was getting me through, because I could be in those kind of altered states of consciousness that we all like to strive for, and that we all gravitate towards, and that we might have had the experience of. And though that time I did have that experience. And so it was like really kind of such a different feeling and such a different experience going through it. And even though I'm in the energy all day, every day, now I would feel it for others. So there's a little spider that dropped down right in front of me right now. Never is nothing happening. Just a tiny little one. Anyways, I would feel it when I was in sessions for others, and I would feel it when I was guiding journeys and things like that. But for my own personal practice, I didn't feel it a whole lot, and just trusted. I knew that it was working in the way that it needed to work for me, in the support for me as the support for others in that situation. So as far as like the how to in being connected with it, just like I said, know that you'll go in and out of cycles of that. That's pretty common in life. And that you will feel it again. But in the places where you can try to maybe accelerate that a little bit, as much as we try to lean into the trust of it, I do know that there's the realities of being human in this human world, and how can we try to get back into that feeling of connection I can't tell if this is another one or if this is the same one that just showed up over here. It's like floating right in front of my screen right now. It's really funny. I think it's the same one. Anyway, a session from another person can be really helpful. Are there, the blocks, not to the Reiki, but just to what your experience of it might be. So that's, could be an intention of that, or maybe even reviewing a class. That can be another way that we can have that feeling of reconnection to it, and just having that space for us to be sitting in the energy, and like a dedicated space that you are there for you, sitting in the energy and sitting in the time with the energy. That's another way. Um, Self Reiki can sometimes feel a little frustrating, because to me, Self Reiki and can be subtle anyway. And so I know for me, like when I'm in that space or in a cycle like that, that it can be like, okay, where is it? Come on. And the trust can be even harder to get to around it. So it's not to say that you shouldn't do self Reiki or meditation, like you still can, but just to know that that's a normal experience. And so sometimes it can take that, or be helpful to have that outside or external factor to to help you to get back into that space. I think just by being in intention and having that intention and saying yes, it does kind of start that process of, okay, what needs to be let go of here and what needs to be brought in, and allowing the Reiki energy to also meet you where you're at. If you are in a period that is really busy or is really hard, to know that it might be working in unexpected ways for you. Yeah, exactly. Somebody said grandmother spider weaving her web. Absolutely. It's totally, divinely ordered that just kind of came and floated across.
Well,
So,
and here's what it says in one of I just quickly Googled it. Spider medicine represents the female energy of the creative force that weaves the beautiful designs of life,
yep.
as her web has hundreds of intricate patterns which catch the morning dew.
Mhm. And dream weavers too.
Dreamweaver, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm glad to be in a different cycle now, and the connection is there. I'm in a different way now. So much so that I was like, Colleen, I don't think I can do I didn't say this to you, but I don't think I can do the invocation today, because they've been coming out a little deep and weird, and I don't know, but really strong and really profound.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, they're actually really good.
Yeah.
This one says, spider medicine dropped in to get your attention so that you notice that something you have woven has borne fruit. Congratulations, spider has caught you just in time before you missed the opportunity on the edge of your web or reality.
Mm. I love that. Well, and the cycle has changed, right?
Yeah.
So, and Neptune and Aries.
Yes.
So, all right. Last comment or kind of question. I do want to ask this because of your experience, Colleen.
Okay.
I'm taking a shamanic course this year. They don't practice Reiki. How do I use Reiki when we are journeying into the lower worlds?
Well, the question I would have with that is, have the people, the teachers of the training that you are in, asked you not to use Reiki? So sometimes, because they are, or even in Reiki, they are trying to teach you specific energies, specific ways of working with those energies. They're asking you not to bring in other energies or other modalities. And that isn't true of every shamanic tradition. Shamanic training is so vast, and how that is done and the traditions that people work with and the energies they work with. If it's not the case that they don't want you to use Reiki energy, and again, that is normal enough and a lot of other traditions to work, and particularly when you're in the training, to work exclusively with the energies and the techniques they're teaching you. If that's not the case, if it's okay to bring in the Reiki energy, anytime you are journeying, and what we teach, this is specifically what we teach in the Next Step and 12 Heavens classes, and also in like these Q&As and our distance Reiki share, that bridge of light that we are working with is the distance symbol, HSZSN, I think is right. So it's the distance symbol, and that distance symbol creates a bridge of light to the light wherever you are traveling. It can take you into time and space. It can take you outside of time and space. It can take you in, like our distance Reiki shares and our YouTube channel and podcasts where we always have the separate just Reiki journey for particular reasons. What we are doing in that case is using that distance symbol, and we call it a bridge of light, and mainly because we don't say the names of the symbols out loud when we don't know everybody. So that bridge of light in this case is typically we are going on the bridge to cross over into the spiritual realm we call the third heaven. You can also use that same bridge of light and ask it to go into the lower world. And so you might use the bridge of light instead of, say, going down a tree route or, through a tunnel, which is typical in the way that shamanic journeying is taught to go into the lower world. And the lower world, for anyone listening that's not familiar, is an enlightened earth realm. So it's not like what we think of as the underworld in other ways of looking at it. So the lower world, but you could also use that energy and not imagine it as a bridge, but use the same energy to go down in the way that they have asked you. So for instance, if they have said, go through the tree route or go through a hole in the ground or go through a cave or a tunnel, go ahead and use that distance Reiki energy to do the traveling. The nice thing with using Reiki energy now, in my shamanic training, my teacher Jan wanted us to use Reiki in all of our journeys. Like she said, it's just going to enhance your ability to journey wherever you're journeying. So all the Reiki energies, in fact, it was part of what she wanted me to do, was to focus on Reiki in the shamanic school so that we could teach it as part of that training. But a lot of them ask you not to do that. I've done both. So I honor it the way that that teacher is asking for. If you want to use Reiki for just yourself, then you can do it that way. But also the other thing to do is to ask Reiki how it's helping you in those journeys also, because you may receive different ways or different tools that work for you according to the style that you're learning, that Reiki will also show you. So you can, if it's okay with them, activate all the symbols and ask that question. Show me how you help me in this journey with the lower world or the upper world or middle world, wherever you're traveling.
Right.
Okay, I think that answers that.
We got through them all. I wasn't sure if we would. So that's awesome. Okay, well, we are 2 times. So thank you all so much. Great questions and conversations
you.
today. Again, for those of you that are here live, this will be posted on Monday. So if you wanted to go back and review anything. And I think that about does it. So we'll just go ahead and say goodbye to you all. And for those of you that are listening later, thank you all so much for listening. Lots of love to you.
Thank you, everyone.